What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another video. Today, we're actually going to be creating first alerts and also a dashboard to actually kind of like visualize it. It kind of makes the investigation goes makes it easier because it gives you like a visualization of what's really going on. So we're going to create an alert that whenever we have like a failed attempt, we get to have the username and the source IP address, which makes it easier to like just investigate more. So without wasting time, I'm just going to dive straight into the video. I already have on my notepad here a list of things I want. Like I said, things we want to look out for. We want failed attempts. We want users. We want users and the source IP address. So I'm just gonna refresh this. Go to discover. We already have the Linux machine filtered for, which is something I wanted to actually filter for. It's already highlighted, and I'm gonna filter for the agent name. That's Richard. We're also gonna filter for the system auth SSH method. Yes, because that's what tells us the either it was successful or a failed attempt. Boy, it has a dash trying to say, oh, let's see, it has so many. I think these are like empty fields. Like I think that like these are empty, and we want something that has a field, like that's showing us something filled basically. System dot at dot ssh. Hmm. I think I'm gonna take this one now. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong filter. I wanted to filter actually for the system odds SSH events, not the system.ssh method. I'm just gonna add that. Yeah, you can see we don't have any dash anymore. Yeah, yeah, we're good now. So yeah, what we're gonna do is also filter for the source IP. Yeah, that is this source IP address. As you can see, we have the IP address of like the devices that have been trying to connect to our device. They've been trying to actually brute force into like the device. And also I'm going to filter for, I want to also know the countries, like what countries like I've been trying to attempt to, brute force our device. So I think it's the source geo country name. As you can see, we have that on the side also. We got United States, China, China, Australia, China, Australia, China, China, yeah. What else do we need to filter for? Usernames, yes. We need to also filter for usernames. What username they try to use. Okay, I already have the username here. As you can see, we have roots, 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 roots. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. So I think we can actually create an alert from this, like from just these three major things we need. Or like say four: the country, the username, the source IP, and the SSH event and agent name. So I'm actually going to look at the notepad. I think we have everything we needed. So we have field attempts right here. We have the users, which is the user.name field. We also have the source IP, which is this. But I'm actually, because you can see we have some um, events stating message, we have some events stating invalid, but we actually just want to filter for just failed because that's what's important. So I'm just gonna highlight over this field and click the add button, and now you can see we only have failed because that's what we actually need. So I think everything is good. So we're just gonna save this out, and I'm gonna give it a title, SSH failed activities. SSH failed. So it gives you like a quick glance, a quick review of like what has been failing. Like if users who have tried multiple times, trying to log into the system, and they've actually failed. So I'm just gonna save this out. So what we're gonna do next is to create an alert. So I'll just click on this hamburger button, and oh, we actually have alerts here. So I'll just click on alerts, create search threshold. And we're gonna name this. I'm doing a lot of things here. My My sock dash SSH brute force. Okay, yeah. Dash. Let's put my name. So I know that's for my Linux server. So yeah. We're gonna edit this when counts over all document is above 1000 for the last minutes, 5 minutes. We're gonna change that to it's above to. We're gonna change this value to 5. If it's above 5 failed attempts, yeah, I think that's a 5. If it's above 5 attempts in the last 5 minutes, we're gonna get an alert. We don't want to wait all the way to get 1000, you know. So when count of all documents is above 5 for the last 5 minutes, we're definitely gonna get an alert. You know, so I'm just gonna click on save for this. Should we test the query? Or we can just save. I just click save. You can add action at any time. So now we have our alerts. We've created an alert, which is great. So what the alert is going to do is whenever we have a failed attempt of above 5, let's say a user tries a brute force attack and it's above 5 attempts, we get an alert immediately in within 5 minutes. So that's not so not so much of a great alert, but for my learning process, just for me to get used to creating alerts, creating the dashboard, that's the whole purpose of this, just for me learning. Like I said, this is not me trying to do this for, like, I'm trying to teach people. I'm just trying to learn for myself and just get used to like using the sim, using like get familiarized with the dashboard itself, querying, logs and all of that, and looking out for things that are of importance to me. So, what we're gonna do next is create the dashboard. So we'll click on the hamburger. We're gonna click on map. I like this one because it's quite fancy. It gives you like a very nice visualization of what's going on. Ooh, did I copy out my query? I need to find it. Let me see. My query should be right here. Let me see if I can, because I need to actually type out the whole query that I'm going to add to the map. So I'm just going to type that out. So I've actually written out the query, which is the system.out.ssh the events with the asterisk sign, and agent name is mysoc linux richard, and system auth is failed. So I'm going to copy this out. I'm going to copy out this query and also just save in my notepad just in case I need it later on. So just to know if this query works, I'm going to test it out. Wait, I think it worked actually, but I want to test it out in a different way. Let's see if I can just cancel all of this. Hmm. Let's just mess around with. I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit. Still, all of this is still. But anyway, let's just filter now. I think like this and update. Okay, yeah, you can see it works. The query works. We can just use that to quickly filter out for failed attempts on the Linux machine itself. Makes the job quite easy. So let's go back to our maps because we're trying to create a dashboard basically for that query itself. So we're going to paste the query out here. We're going to paste that query out here, and it's not going to show us anything yet. But we're going to click on add layers. I'm going to select, I don't even know how to pronounce that right, chloropect or chloropats, something like that. The boundary source is going to be the admin. So that's what countries, yes. Statistics source, let query use statistics source. For the statistics source, the data view is going to be this, I think. Just to verify, I think we can find that let's go back to this. Yeah, you can see right here, it says data view. It shows us where we are, particularly right now, which is this APM, dash, dash, all of that. So I'm just going to select that then. Then the join field should be, we're looking for the real ISO country code, I think. Might have to go down a little bit more. Trying to get to S. We're gonna get there. I feel like, I don't know if I could have just actually typed that out. Let me even see. Yeah, I could have actually. So I'm gonna do source.geo. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Search.geo country ISO. This one. I'm just gonna filter for that also. And you can see we're already having a visualization already. You can see we can see where like the countries and like where we're getting generating this field attempts from. You can see we have five here in what country is this? I know this is China, but it just shows five. I really don't know. But yeah, so I think that's all. And I think I'm just gonna add that out. Add continue. We don't need to really do anything here. So I'm just gonna save that out and I'm gonna save that out. I'm gonna give it a title SSH failed authentications. Pardon me. SSH failed authentication. I'm gonna add a new dashboard. And let's save and go to dashboard. So you can see just at a glance, we already have a dashboard. This is very fancy if you look at that. Like I think it's cool. It shows you basically like what countries are trying to attempt to like brute force our device, and we can just see at a glance. So I like the dashboard, honestly. It's so cool, you know. We got 281 from China and we got three from Canada. I think I don't believe this is America. America, like I think the map of America is quite big. Canada cannot be that range, and this is America, but yeah. So what we're going to also do next is create an alert for accepted authentication, because if we're going to have failed, we also want to look out for when we have a successful attempt, just in case someone actually like successful attempts to like get into like the device, and which we don't want that, but we're also going to create that. So to create the also a dashboard for an alert for accepted authentications, I'm gonna duplicate this. Duplicate. I'm gonna change the name to. I'm gonna change it to accepted. Accepted authentications. I don't need to have a copy. I'm gonna clear that out. We're also going to edit the query, because the query we just duplicated was for failed authentications. So we're going to change the query for accepted authentications. So we're going to edit this and we're going to change this failed to accepted. I also want to change the timeline to 90 days. Let's see. We've only had one successful attempt in 90 days, and we definitely know who that is, which is me. As you can see, it's coming from the UK. So that is good. So I'm gonna save. And it didn't change the name. Go change that again. Accepted authentications. Good. Okay, just at a quick glance, you guys can see on my screen. At a quick glance, we have the failed authentication right here, and we have the successful authentication right here. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I think it's beautiful. Um, so now we know, like, whenever we get a successful, like, whenever like an attacker tries to get into our device, and probably they actually did get into the device, we can quickly get like an alert on the dashboard that shows us who that user is. We can know what country that is from, and we can also see all the failed authentications also. And if we need to investigate more to know if we need to block certain IP address, we can do that. So that's just a good one. I'm happy about the dashboard. I love it. So we're gonna move on to the next tags now. So I think the process is just the same as we created for the Linux machine. I'm gonna just cancel all of this out because that's the Linux machine. Probably just change this to 30 days. Let's cancel all of this out because we don't need it anymore. Yeah, so we're back to, the dashboard just being as it is originally, where we have 718 logs. So right now I'm gonna filter for our Windows server itself. So we're gonna click on agent name. Yeah, and we're gonna filter for just the Windows server because we don't want the Linux anymore. So we want just the Windows server, which is this. I'll filter for that guy. So now you can see you only see logs on this particular machine, which is the Windows server. We have 336 logs in the last 30 days. Now, I want to actually, let's look for event IDs. We're going to Google out like Windows event IDs because we go like with Windows, they have particular event IDs that generate logs on certain like failed attempts and successful attempts. So we're going to Google failed authentication event ID. Yeah. Oh, look at that. AI. Makes everything easy, isn't it? The Windows event ID for field authentication is 4625. But yeah, let's look at the Microsoft community. Let's see what it shows us. They already know the code, but yeah, 4625. 4625. So now that we know the event ID for field authentications on the Windows server, we're gonna go back and we're gonna also filter for um events. I think it should be, let's see what type of field that is. Event code. For you can see it's even right here, event code 4625. That's the event ID for field authentication. So I think I'll just filter it from here. So you can see we already have 94,000 logs on almost 10,000, sorry, almost 100,000 actually, um, failed attempts. That is a lot of failed attempts. Logan field, you can see that is amazing. So yeah, I'm just gonna type that out. Oh, it's already in my query, so I'll just leave that. As you can see, it's right here. It's been added. Event code 4625, and we also agent name is Richard. That's the Windows server name. Um, so I think we're gonna just stick with things we were looking for, which is the failed attempts, users, and source IP, just like the same way we're looking out for in the Linux server. So we've already queried for the event code. So now we're going to query for the source IP. I'm just going to add that source IP. So you can see we have the source IP. We're going to add the username. So you see the username administrator, users, administrator. Let's open up one. Let's see what the message says. You can see the message saying an account failed to log on, subject security ID. It didn't give us an account name or account domain. Let's see something else. Okay, so still featuring, like I'm trying to arrange this to look proper. So we have the agent name, and the event code. I want that also out here, but it's not. Let's see, event code. I'm also going to filter for that. Okay, yeah. I also wanted the event code. So we have the source IP, we have the username, we have the event code. Then basically, if you see 4625, you know that's a failed attempt. Then we have the agent name. Okay. So still just going through like the logs, I'm trying to just go through it, like, just look around, like um you see the message field, it kind of always gives a lot more information. So if we click on this, I'll try and scroll up or try, I'm just gonna try and move myself away. So if you can see that like an account failed to log on, it gives us the security ID, logon type 3. Then account for which logon failed, account name was administrator, further information, you see. It gives us the source IP address, which is 157.15, which is right here. I think my tab is covering the source IP address. Oh no, it's not. That's the IP address right here. You can see that. And it also gives like a message. This event is generated when a logon request fails. It's generated on the computer where access was attempted. So you can tell that this attempt was basically attempted on our device. someone tried to log into our device. So we're gonna go next to creating the dashboard and the alerts. So I'm gonna save this out. This is the query we want. I think we're good. So I'm gonna just click on save, and I'm gonna name this. It's not an SSH. So I'm gonna name this an RDP failed activity. Yes. So we're gonna click on save. Go to alerts and create a new alert. I'm gonna name this my just like the old one, my sock dash RDP brute force. Oh, that's too much caps. Brute force activity, and give it my name. Okay, name my sock RDP brute force activity. Agent's name. We're also gonna change this to 5. Any like 5 attempts in the last 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna save it that way. 5 minutes. Test the query. You can see we have query match 3 documents in the last 5 minutes. So definitely in the last 5 minutes, we've had someone who has actually tried to log onto our device, and they've actually attempted more than 5 attempts. Um, so then I'm just gonna click on save. I think that's all. I click on save rule. Then now we're gonna update the alerts. We're gonna go to actually it's management. Then we're gonna go down to stock management. Then on the right here, we're gonna click on alerts. We're gonna look for alerts. Yeah, because we're trying to update the alerts and the security alerts. See, we have the SSH brute force here. Then the stats. Okay, relation values, rules count. So we're gonna go back to rules actually on the security. We're going to create a rule, detection rule, create and manage detection rules for threat detection and monitoring, and create new rule. We're going to click on thresholds, aggregate query result to detect when the number of matches exceeds a threshold. So we have that selected. Just going to scroll down to custom query, which is right here. I'm going to create one first for the SSH field authentications. So in the custom query here, I'm going to copy out our query earlier. I'm going to copy that out and I'm going to paste that down here. I'm also still going to add and username, user dot name, that's roots, because that's the username. We're going to group by username and source IP. I can just search that out. Group by username, user.name, and we're also going to group it by the source IP, source.ip, which is this one. I think that's it. Then threshold, we're going to change the threshold to 5. Threshold 5. We're going to scroll down, required field. We're going to add some required fields. Field name, we want source IP and also username. So we're going to also filter for source IP, source.ip, and also username, user.name. So I think that's all. Then we're going to click on continue. Bar rule, we're going to name this my sock dash SSH dash root force dash root dash force attempt, and also the host name, which is me, Richard Ago here. Description, we're going to say this rule detects failed authentication. This rule detects failed authentication towards the account root. This rule detects failed authentication towards the account root. So that's like the message that pops up whenever we get an alert stating that this rule detects a failed authentication towards the account root. And the severity of this, we're going to put a medium. So it's a medium severity. You can put high, maybe in a production environment, if you feel this is of high importance, like you can make that high, but just for me, I'll put medium. So you see our query here, the custom query, medium, custom added fields. Let's see. Okay, I think we're gonna put sys IP, sys.ip. I think that's all. if it was a production environment or like a real life, you can see investigation guide. You can add some relevant information that you think might be of help. A step up guide, like things that you might need to do to remediate like the incidents, you know. Well, I don't need to do any of this actually. So I'll just click on continue. Runs every 5 minutes. I'll change that to 5 also. So rule runs periodically and detects alerts within the specific time frame. So in every 5 minutes, that's not 5, that's 15. Okay. So I'll click on continue. Then I think that's it. Rule action. We're gonna leave that for now. I think that's it. Yeah. So our rule has been created right here. You can see right here the alerts and the rule. My sock. You can see our query. You can see it's scheduled. You know. So whenever we get anything, we're gonna get like a notification right here, just like this. See? It quickly gives us a glance. Events with the source, this IP address by root created medium alerts. Just immediately we created that. We're already getting like an alert already, and you can investigate further if you want to, you know, check it. So I'm also gonna do the same thing for the RDP. So we're gonna go back to rules and click on detection rules, and we're gonna create a new rule. So let's just the same way, threshold, just the same way, same process. Then we're gonna copy out the query, which is this. I'm gonna paste that out here. I'm also gonna add and the username, the user name is admin administrator. I don't really need the hyphen. Okay. Okay. I think that's the rule. I also want to group this by source IP and username. Did I get that right? Okay, username. Threshold also still it's 5. Required field. We're gonna also add that source IP, source.ip, and username, user the name. Okay. I think that's all. Yeah, I think that's all for now. Then continue. Um, the name also, we're just gonna name this my dog dash RDP dash workforce dash attempt. Okay. My sock dash RDP brute force attempts. Okay. That's not the spelling of my name, so I gotta change that. The description is this probably this rule detects an RDP failed attempts, So we're just gonna title this rule detects a failed authentication towards the account towards the account administrator. Okay. Just making sure everything is good. The data severity, we're also gonna make that medium. We're also gonna put source IP here. Source IP. I think that's really a custom. Then I think that's it. Then continue. The threshold, we're gonna do this runs every 1 minute. One, and the look back should be 5. This rule detects a field authentication source the account. Okay. I think that's good. And I think that's it. So we're done creating our rules for the RDP and the SSH. That kind of took a while. Was So what we're going to be doing next is creating a dashboard for the RDP. Let's create a dashboard now for the. We're going to create a dashboard for the RDP. This we're going to paste the query. for the RDP. I'm just gonna paste that right here. So we're gonna add the world countries as already selected. Yeah, that. Then joint fields. The field is gonna be the source dot geo, the country ISO code. Okay, now you can see we have something popped up. So I'm just gonna add and continue, save, and we're gonna title this the RDP field authentication. So it's gonna be RDP field authentication. RDP field. So yeah, I'm gonna select that and click on save and go to dashboard. So now we're making sense. Now we're making sense. As you can see, we have the SSH field authentication right here on the top left. We got the SSH successful authentication. As you know, if you remember, SSH is the Linux server, which is this guy right here. This is my Linux server. And this is the RDP server. This is the other guy. This is the Windows machine. See, we've been getting a lot of attacks basically coming from Russia, where we have an attempt of 128 attempts literally. Wow, that's a lot. They're trying to hack us. But yeah, so I'm also going to create another dashboard for RDP successful authentication. Just like I initially said, like this gives us a quick glance of like what's going on. Like we can see that right here, we already have 2 logins success, and we actually do know that that is for me, which is keeps us safe. We know we've not had any other, login attempts, and this is just beautiful because it's like it makes the job, quite easy, where you can get like a very good visualization out of this. So let's create another dashboard for RDP successful attempt. So we're gonna edit this query. So we're gonna edit the query right down here. So we do know the event code for a failed attempt is 4625, and I actually do know this that a successful attempt is a 4624. Just to verify, we could quickly check that out. We could check for Windows successful event code. That's what it says. You can see the event ID is 4624. Like I said, as it says here on Windows, the event code for a successful login is 4624. This means whenever a user successfully logs into a Windows system, an event with an ID of 4624 is generated in the security logs. Security logs in the Windows machine, from the security logs in the Windows machine, they basically go straight into the SIM, through the pipeline using Logstash. So that's the great thing about it. So we're definitely sure about this query. So I'm just gonna update that, and you can see. So I guess I've actually 35. I don't know if that's me. Have I logged into that system 35 times? We might actually need to investigate more on that, but I think definitely that should be me. So I'm just gonna save and return. We're gonna change the title. I'm gonna change that to successful. You know what? I'm actually gonna go check that out real quick because I need to know that's me. We need to make sure no one has probably successfully logged into the device yet. So yeah, I'm gonna save that out. 35. Looks quite a lot for me. So I'm just gonna I want to query that. I actually want to query that. Let's see. If you go to the Discover tab, you see we have a query for. Let's do a 4624. Let's see what pops up for us. It shows me 3, and it says system, 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 system. Let's query this a little bit better. Let's see. Let me see. No, not today. We need to change that. Oh, okay. Oh no, that's a 4. I got scared for a minute. It's a 4625. I'm trying to change that. You can see just today we already have 831 attempts. Some got the right username, you know, because administrator is the right username. Let's change that. I'm trying to query for successful login. That's the system. I'm going to change this to edit days. Okay. I think they're all system logs. And I think that's also, which is good. Yeah, that's good. Well, we're kind of like safe because that's not from anyone in particularly. I'm gonna try and log into the machine myself to see if I can get an alert and see like if it's from my own IP address. So we're gonna RDP to our Windows machine. Okay. Just no, I'm not gonna open the password because I wanted to just see if the password is still complex. Well, I'm pretty sure it's a complex password. So I'm just gonna quickly RDP like in my background. I know it might not pop up. I'm just gonna do that real quick. 7, connect to that. So I'm literally just RDPing into the machine. I could probably bring that on the screen so you can see it. Okay, you can see on my screen right now. We just logged into the Windows machine. Basically, just logged into the Windows machine. Um, Here, take you away. Okay. Uh, yeah. So let's go back and see if we're gonna get you know, any alerts. And I think another thing I'm gonna try is also gonna try and fail to log in and see if I'm gonna be able to generate any alerts also in my query that I created because I told you I made a mistake. So I'm gonna try. I want to know if that query works because still I haven't gotten any. Let me put that for you guys. If you go to rows, open a new tab, detection rows. So in my RDP brute force, see, I haven't gotten any alerts. So I want to know why once, hmm, once everyone actually look for 5 minutes. So I'm going to try and see if you don't aggregate by source IP username greater than 5. So we'll go probably try this more 5 times, maybe. Okay. Let's just close this away first so I don't get confused with the tabs. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we know that like for sure that we're safe. Let's go back to this. Let me just refresh this. No, let's do it today. I know I just successfully logged in. So you can see, today's 26, yeah. So for my IP address, that's my source IP address, I was able to log into the device, you know. So definitely I know that's me. So we are safe. I'm trying to think about it. Like, did I actually log in at this time? What time is it? Okay, it's just right about the same time, 6:31, 6:31, 57 seconds. But I'm just wondering why did we get three alerts? Like, shouldn't, like three logs, shouldn't it just be one? Okay, it has my name. You can see the source domain. This is my device, literally. It even tells my location. That is crazy. So you can see how powerful like this can be. You can see how powerful it is because it literally tells you where whoever successfully logs into your device is like directly where they are directly. As you can see, it gives also my domain name, my also my location, the geo location, So I know that's definitely me, so we're good. So at least I know we're good because I was kind of like thinking like why do we have three logs? Well, it's still me. Uh I guess the logs are just active, getting like the alerts. So let's go back to what we're working on. So now we already have successfully created the dashboard for the RDP, and we have the dashboard for field authentication. I hope this is saved because I think maybe I should save again. Yeah. Because I would not want to lose this dashboard. You know what I mean? Like I would not want to lose it. So now that we have that out of the way, all right. So me just going through my playbook. I think I would just like to call it my playbook because I have a playbook. We I would actually need to change the query on the RDP successful authentication because there's some changes we need to make. But before we do that, we're going to go to the Discover tab, where we have all the logs, and we're going to requery with this. So I'm going to type out this really long query. So if you just pardon me while I type that out, it's the event code 4624. I'll show you guys at the end. Okay, so we type in the query. So event code 4624 and in bracket winlog event underscore data underscore dot logon type 10. In a minute, I'm going to tell you what logon type 10 is. I'm just going to finish up the query and winlog events, just the same query underscore data. These are the queries basically you use to kind of like fine tune your search and make it more specific, for certain things you're looking for. So logon type 7. Okay. Okay. So I already searched this out. So you see, a winlog logon type 10 and 7. So basically, the type 10 refers to a remote interactive login, meaning a user logs in remotely to the computer using tools like remote desktop, like the one I use to basically sign into the device. So whenever a user uses like an RDP, we get this alert with a logon type 10. And the logon type 7 indicates an unlock event when a user simply just unlocks their computer screen after being logged out. So these are two good alerts, that we can just receive. So if this happens when a user unlocks their computer screen after it was locked, when your screen just basically gets locked from it being interactive and you just kind of like press like the space bar and it opens up, we get like you literally get an alert for that like in the logs. So that's just it. So let's go back and update this query. So you see, we have one successful login today. That's for me. I'm going to save that query and I'm going to title this RDP successful. It was a good thing we tested like the query. So I'm going to title that RDP successful activity. So you can see it's all helpful. Did I save? Search RDP was saved. Okay. So I'm going to copy this query and we're going to go back to this guy. We're going to rechange this query. So we're going to edit the query. I'm going to clear that out. Paste that in. Update. Yeah. See, it makes a lot more sense now. It kind of like, previously we had like about 35, but now it kind of like fine tunes it, like, specifically because we were getting previously like the system logs also, but now we're not getting the system logs anymore. So it's basically my login attempts and I've done that 6 times. So I'm just going to save and return. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good to go, guys. We're making progress. So the next thing we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be creating tables This is me just creating more visualizations to make like the job easy for myself as a SOC analyst. You know, when I have a dashboard like this, it makes me kind of like go through like information way quicker. So I'm going to be creating a table that's going to be highlighting usernames and their countries and also their source IP. So let's go. I just even realized my face has been covering the successful authentication. So I'm just going to move my face a little bit so you guys can see right down here. As you can see, that's where we have the RDP successful authentication. You know, see, we got six attempts. So that's good. So I'm just going to actually check um to see if we've gotten any, alerts so far from the RDP because we remember we changed the query, so rules. So we're going to check the query if we've gotten any alerts. Yes, sir. So you can see now we're getting our alerts. Uh, if I just open this more to see more information about the alerts, you can see the rule description. This rule detects a failed authentication towards the account administrator. This is the source IP address, like it's coming from, you know. So now at least I know my rule is working because previously it wasn't actually working. So I'm glad we are actually fixing the problems gradually. So yeah, which is good, which is good. So this is sorted now too. Okay, guys. So now I think we have everything settled. I'm just going to show it to you. So I've been able to successfully create it, like saved my queries. So I have my RDP query. I also, which is this one right now, is on the screen. I also have my RDP field query. As you can see, we're presented with a different set of logs. This is for the field authentications. You can see we have the usernames, we have the source IP, and the timestamp. I also have my SSH field activity also, which is for the Linux server. As you can see, we have that saved. So we can move forward to create more visualization. So I'm going to be creating a visualization for, I think we're going to start with the Linux machine. So I'm going to go copy out that query actually. Yeah, this one. So we're going to paste this query into our lens. Then let's just change the timestamp to, let's do last 7 days. Fresh. All right, so we're gonna start dragging. I like this because it's like a drag and drop. So the moment you start dragging like particular field into like this space right here, we start getting like a visualization. So the way we want the timestamp, so we just drag and drop. You can see it's a bar chart, but we don't want a bar chart, so I'm gonna change that actually. So table. Okay, yeah, we're good. So we change that to table. We also want the source IP. We're going to search for the source IP. Source IP, you drag and drop it. Isn't that just cool? Like a drag and drop. We also want the username. Username. So you can see how quick, like the glance is. Like, imagine you just having a table that shows you, or like the username, the source IP. From the source IP, you can see who has actually been attempting to, like brute force this machine like the most. Then you can start doing more investigations on like that particular IP address, trying to find like its domain and who the user might be. Something else we might also want is the country. So I'm gonna search for source geo, but we're just gonna do geo country name. Okay. Wow, A lot of China actually. China, the United States. Wow. I guess China and the United States, they've just been active in it. But yeah, you could also move like the tables around, like the fields around. Let's say if you want to have the username come first, you can take that all the way up. You can see right here we have the username first. But I think I like the timestamp first actually. It's always good with you check the time, check the user, check the IP. I think it's perfect this way. So I think we got everything we want. We got the timestamp, we got the source IP, we got the username, and we also have the country name. Then we're gonna move forward. I want to change this from three values. So I'm gonna actually change all of this. Let's see. So I'm gonna change the value from three. I want to make that 10. Where it says the top three values, we're gonna actually make changes to that. So we click on like just the title itself. Then I'm gonna change this guy to 10. Um, I'm gonna click on advanced and we're gonna remove the group. Okay, so you can see top 10 value. Yes. So I'm gonna do that also too for source IP. Change that to 10. Then we're gonna uncheck the group remaining values for others. And I'm also gonna do that for the country. Why I'm actually doing this is because like if you actually scroll like down the logs, sometimes you're gonna just get some dashes. Like you don't get like a value, you don't get like a IP address or like a username. So I'll change that to unknown group that. Okay. You can also see the count of records, like the amount of times they actually tried. You can see 2, 3, 1. Wow, 91. This guy, Bulgaria, man's really trying to get into the device. Not even he also tried with the username admin. I think this is quite funny and cool when you get like you're seeing this from like the back end. You're seeing everything. And I think he also tried it's the same IP address. He tried a couple of different username, you know. He tried admin, he tried dolphin, Schedler. Some of the usernames on this Elasticsearch. Wow. Wow. I think man's really doing some reconnaissance, for him to actually know like the same I'm actually using. But yeah, so now that we have that all fixed, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna click on save right here and return. And you can see we're going to have the table down here of our visualization. So we have the SSH failed authentication. We also have the SSH successful authentication. We have the RDP failed authentication. We have the RDP successful authentication. And we have the table down here. And you can see how this is so nice because we get like a quick glance of what's really going on. So I actually like this. I love creating like the visuals of it. So I'm gonna move forward. So just actually speed this up because I'm gonna create a table also for obviously successful attempt with the Linux machine, and we're also gonna create a table for the RD for like the Windows machine failed and also successful attempts. So I think just to speed it up, I'm just gonna quickly do that myself real quick. you know, during the process. I think I'll just leave a recording, but I probably would not just say anything and just, go through it real quick. So I'm gonna duplicate this guy. Okay, guys. So if you can see, we have created a very, very nice dashboard with a quick glance about everything. At the top, we have visualization where we have like the countries, like a very quick glance around like the geographical like viewing of it. On the left, we have the SSH field authentication. We got the SSH successful. We got the RDP, which is the Windows server on the left. We got the RDP successful also right here. Isn't that just pretty? I really like the dashboard. I just love it, honestly. You know, it's really cool, isn't it? So coming down, we also have the tables, which is also great. It gives us a very quick glance of like what's really going on. You can see we have the SSH field authentications, we have the timestamps when this happened, the users, the IP, and also like the country. We also have that for the RDP, the field, and the SSH. Coming down, we also have the successful attempt because it makes sense. So eventually, not eventually, let's say someone else tries to get into like the device and they actually do get into the device, you can also just quickly know who that user is and try to like, pinpoint and like probably isolate that user real quick, before the person could probably do anything malicious in your organization. So, that is great. So we're going to be moving on to the next phase of the project. I'm very happy with the dashboard. I'm happy it's done. Um, yeah, we're doing great. Like I said, like because there's been a lot of like changes, but I'm happy because we're fixing issues. I'm making mistakes, and I'm also learning from my mistakes. I'm correcting those mistakes, which is also very great for me, because I tend to notice things more. So I'm very happy with how far I've come. With like with this. If I could, you guys, let me take my face away for a minute. Let me show you guys just a look around. You can see that. But yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to move on to the next stage.